Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. Today I want to talk about a little bit about how the market's changing. Seen a lot of investors dry up. A lot of the people that were out there trying to wholesale land are not finding their money. They're getting things tied up, and there's nobody to flip it to. It's not uncommon when interest rates go up and things are looking pretty bleak like they've been. But there's still opportunities. There's always money to be made. I've been doing it 40 years. I invest. I've never stopped investing. Let me put it that way. I've never stopped. The things change. Interest rates go up. Values go down. But as long as you keep yourself in the know about what values are currently, you can always make money on that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'll tell you about one of the biggest. One of the most unfortunate things that happened to me about not being prepared. And I've been talking about this in my webinars, which, by the way, I believe I got one more webinar tomorrow at 9 a.m. for those of you that want to get in there. I didn't realize we had it scheduled, but I'll have a 9 a.m. tomorrow. I had one last night, and I'll be doing them every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. Urge you to check it out. Welcome new students, by the way. We'll see you in the meeting tomorrow, the mentorship meeting that I hold every Saturday. We'll be right back.
It's the best thing I ever did.
So, anyways, I wanted to, what's your feel out there? Is anybody out there more scared than ever or not? I'm seeing a lot of fear out there. Just with the comments, I see a lot of people that I've got actually quite a few emails, people that were wanting to get into the mentorship, can't afford it, people that blew their crypto money, people that got into wholesaling and some other things that didn't quite turn out how they'd hoped. And, look, nobody's going to pat you on the back and put you under their wing and take you around and say, here, let me show you how to make money. I mean, you're going to have to pay for that kind of information because it takes time. It's not something easy to do. People ask a one-sentence question as if there's an answer for it. And, it just doesn't happen that way. Hey, Barry, glad to see you're in there. Barry says, I spoke with a broker the other day and explained to him that deals don't make sense because I need to earn at least 6% just to break even. Inflation, and then on top of that, you should always strive for as much as you can. Listen, there was a market for people paying, that would pay and accept 6%. But if they borrow money against it, then it's a wash, and who wants to have a wash? The last real building, I've bought 3 houses since the last building I bought. The last building I bought, I'm getting almost a 25% return on cash, and that was a $1.6 million purchase. I paid cash for it, but I borrowed back $1.2 million out of it at like 4.5%, and that has a 9.25% return. So in the end, I'm making, I have a net rent check of $144,000 a year just on that one building. But today it would be a little bit different game if I borrowed that money, today as opposed to when I did. That money would have been costing me at least another 2.5%, and that would be significant. I don't know why so many people are so satisfied with so little. You have to raise your standards. You have to have higher standards to make money. You have to have higher standards for the margins that you make on your deals. Because if you don't, it's just easy. It's just easy to find something. I did a video on Pace Morby here recently, and I didn't think I was attacking Pace. I didn't like his deal. I disagreed with him about LLCs, and I disagreed with him on what he considered a good deal. And I haven't seen it yet, but somebody told me that Pace makes about, $2 million rent or cash flow or however he refers to it on about $300 million of real estate. I make more than that on 15 million. Okay, and on just and proportionately much more than that. But you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just such a low margin of profit. I mean, if you got 300 million, I guess it'd be. I'm talking about $300 million in real estate that is very, very heavily leaned. In fact, maybe no equity, even negative equity, from what his students have described, and they have this. Somebody wrote, it was a really terrible comment as far as I'm concerned. Equity comes, equity goes, but the cash flow just goes and goes, or something like that. And look, equity is what really measures your wealth. And if you get upside down for any length of time too much, I mean, you got nowhere to go. And so this sub-2 stuff, what they don't talk about is how bad of a deal it is for the person that is deeding the property over to the buyer, or they got all these names. They use different names for buyer as opposed to the entrance fee. They say entrance fee rather than deposit. And there's a lot of really just circuitous stuff that I got no interest in. And I've actually, my first deal was basically a subject to deal. And where they did a wraparound. It was an all-inclusive trust deed. So basically I had four notes wrapped up in one that I paid on. And look, I was 19 years old and it was fine, but I had equity on day one. Some of the proposals that I see going on with these guys are proposing that you buy properties. And what Pace was kind of describing as this perfect, confluence of interest rate and things going down, interest rate going up and deals, equity going down and people wanting to get out. And nobody spoke to the merits of the video that I made. Everybody just looked at the thumbnail and was like, Pace is my boy, and just a lot of juvenile stuff. But nobody really articulated anything intelligent, except for a handful. And I got some download. I mean, listen, Pace, for some of the people that are following him, and I'm not critical of Pace here, but I hope he makes $1 million a year just for babysitting some of these guys. I mean, it was super juvenile. You could tell none of these guys had any real estate or money-making chops at all. And if you want to look at it, you can go, I think it was a Facebook post or something. But anyways, it was fun. It'd be fun to check out if you get a chance to look at it. By the way, my mentorship, I better talk about that real quick, because mine's going up 90%. That's right, 90%. So right now it's $24.95, but it is now $44.95 beginning midnight tomorrow. And I'll give you a quick look here so you can see this. And so this is my page. This is my mentorship page, which, again, welcome new students. We got some new, really, people that are going to be real assets to the class. I love my class. I swear. We've got the smartest, best, and brightest. And so right here, this is Flip Anything USA, those of you that are new here. And again, please hit that subscribe button. Because I don't want you to lose me. I don't want you to miss this channel. You can look at the testimonials. I've got probably the biggest money-making testimonials of any of the the so-called gurus out there, and I challenge anybody to just compare. But many millionaires now, others making $100,000 for the first time, or a few $100,000. It's a very real thing, and it's very work, and it's very teachable. But it takes some time. And I have over 300 hours of content now that all personally taught by me. And then I have the class. The class is a huge asset in itself. The community that I have is just absolutely the best and brightest. And I mean that sincerely. You've got people that are millionaires and people that are new real estate millionaires that are in the class, and then you got young people just starting, making a few $100,000, and it's just it's and everybody shares, and everybody's learning from just geographically. It's a very cool thing. So we can go over here to Google Earth. In fact, I'm going to tell you guys a story about something. This is when, let me make this a little bigger. Okay, we're going back to like roughly 1988, 1989. I'd already made my first million, and I was going to go buy a beach house. Decided I was going to buy a beach house. I've been telling this story in the mentorship. I'm sorry, in the webinars. So I'm like 27 years old. I'd sold my little business that I started, and because my little business was dwarfed by the monies that I made in real estate, and now I had about $1 million plus equity, and I had notes coming in. In fact, I still have this book. This book here is basically the 80s, my 1980s notes, and there's almost $1 million in notes right there. So I had one note in there alone on a property that I bought and resold that I was getting $2,450 a month, and that was just interest only. And so I love carrying first trust deeds, or notes secured by first trust deeds. But so back to this. Let's go to Google Earth, and I'm going to take you to Ocean Drive, Oxnard. This is what we call Channel Islands by the Sea, right next to Ventura. Very, very beautiful community. And if you look up, this is why we called it Channel Islands instead of Oxnard, is because you looked at the Channel Islands right there. I had a lot of fun there. There was a place called the Whale's Tail that sat back in here, and it was just a fun place. It wasn't as young a beach as I would have liked, but this is what's really the come away from this. And again, if you just got here, please hit subscribe. And again, I just want to remind everybody the mentorship is going up. It's going up $2,000. It's going from $24.95 to $4,500, and it's cheaper and better than I think just anything out there. But so I'm going to take you down to the street here. At the time when I was doing this, so look, Santa Barbara is right up the coast. And they just happened to be doing a series back then. It was called Santa Barbara. It was a big soap opera. And so I decided, I'd sold my company. I didn't have to watch it anymore. I had plenty of money coming in from real estate. I decided, hey, I'm gonna get a beach house. I'm gonna go see if I can go hook up with Pamela Anderson, and life will be great. So I decided to go shopping. But this is what's really important here. And anybody got a question, go ahead and throw a question in. This is why it's so important to be prepared and to know value. This is a really good lesson in knowing value. So I had already knew well what I know now about understanding value in an area that I'm going to make a deal in. If you don't know value, you don't have the ability to say, I'll take it and make a deal quickly. And so remember, we're back in 1989 where I'm taking you right now. I had a cell phone in my car, and it was attached to something about the size of a shoebox. It was called a transportable. It really wasn't a great portable phone. We had pagers then, we had other things. But I'm looking for a beach house. I'm going to buy a beach house. And so let's go down to the street here, because this is kind of how it goes. Back then, we didn't have the MLS. We didn't have we had the MLS, but we didn't really have the internet. The MLS was basically a book. So I'm scooting down the street just like this, and I'm doing my due diligence. I'm taking all the for sale signs. I'm writing down every agent's name and every number on every address that has a for sale sign. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm getting to understand the values in the area. And I'm putting along here just like this, and all of a sudden I see a for sale sign, like right here, and I start writing it down, and this kid pops his head out of the window, like over here, like out of a unit like this. And he says, hey, don't buy that place, buy this one. And I go, well, what are you talking about? And he goes, my mom's selling this one. I go, well, what's her number? So I write her phone number down, and I immediately call her. And I'm new to the area. I don't know what anything's worth here at this moment. And this is a Saturday, and I can tell you, even agents today, all along the beach in California, I don't think any of them work on a Saturday because you can call them endlessly, page them, and you can't get anybody or text them. Well, it was no different 35 years ago, back when I was doing this. And so I'm not I'm writing down the numbers. No agents are answering. That's typical there, on a Saturday. So now I call this lady, and I said, hey, your son told me you're selling this place. What do you think? And she said, yep, I'll sell it to you. And she knew exactly what she wanted. She was a total businesswoman. She was great. She goes, I want $250,000. I'll take $50,000 down, and I'll carry a note, interest only, probably 10% back then. She said, and so 50,000 down, 200, and I'll carry 200,000. And I got her name, got her address, got her phone number. I said, okay. I said, I just got here. Let me check things out, and I'll come. I'll call you. Well, so I go through the whole neighborhood. I got every for sale sign. I still can't figure out what anything's worth hardly. So that a day or two goes by. Now it's Monday or Tuesday, and I'm busy. I got work. I got things to do, and I'm taking care of those things. And then finally I settle down into my notes, and agents start calling me back from the messages that I left on their machine. And I'm starting to quickly get a hard lesson on what the values are. And instantly I realized that offer she made me for $250,000 was an amazing deal, because just about everything on the street was $450,000 to $600,000. So I knew her house for sure was worth at least about 4.5. So I called her immediately and said, hey, hey, I'm ready to come see you. I've got a check ready. And she goes, he who hesitates gets left at the starting gate. And of course, my heart just dropped, because that was not what I wanted to hear, and I knew it wasn't good news. And I just was quiet, and she continued on. She said, I just talked to a real estate agent, and he told me that if he couldn't sell my property within a month for $420,000, that he would buy it himself. And so, needless to say, that's where the conversation ended, and I did not get that property. Now, fortunately, I'd already made my first $1 million, and so it hurt to lose $150,000, because listen, $150,000 back then, that's closer to, that'd be like losing $450 today, okay? So I was very disappointed, because it was a lot of money, but the bottom line is I wasn't prepared for that phone call. In other words, I got her number and I realized she wants to talk. I should have figured out what the values were before I even called her. And I should have got a hold of her immediately. I say it all the time. Time kills deals. You take too long, somebody's going to take it away from you. And in this case, I wasn't prepared because I didn't know what the values were. I mean, it just so happened that the first half hour of me driving and getting to know this area, I got slapped in the face with this opportunity, but I didn't know it. And I didn't have we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have the tools. I couldn't just pull up on my phone and look up, hey, what's stuff selling for in the street like you can now. But that's a really good, that's a really good example of why it's so important to get your skills. You got to get your skills on real estate. There's no getting around it. I tell people, listen, if you could tell me that I could play a guitar, that you could teach me to play guitar really well in, a week, but it cost me $100,000, I'd give you $100,000 just like that. If you told me, and if I believed you, that you could teach me to sing, boom, another $100,000. Now I can sing, but it doesn't work that way. We don't have a port in our head that allows us just to download this information that quickly. And so I've got 40 years experience of doing all kinds of different deals. And I can teach it, and my students are doing well. I've got students that have become millionaires, but they're taking time to learn. You got to read my book. You got to attend the Zoom. You got to go through the whole mentorship class. That's 28 hours. That's the crash course for the month. But then I've got another 300 hours of recorded, of me whiteboarding it or talking directly and explaining, deals that that the students are doing, that I've done. This is the kind of experience that you need if you really, really want to be good and be a very successful investor. So anyways, but I wanted to share that story because it is a good one for that reason. And, likewise in this area, it's funny because, Santa Barbara is just down from here. And I did get it, by the way, I did get a deal there. I did buy a property there for, I think I got it for $390, and I rolled it over at $390, not $250, $390. And it was cool. It was fun time at the beach for a while. And I ended up flipping that to a friend of a realtor that I met there. So right now, here's Santa Barbara. What's also interesting in Santa Barbara, which also reminds me of a really cool deal that I made. In Santa Barbara, there's a company called Mission Linen. And Mission Linen, I think what they do is they launder. Yeah, it says uniform service. Let's see. Let's do the one in that's Santa Maria. No. Oh, here we go. Let's go to this one right here. So, because this is where they were headquartered in. So, Mission Linen has this headquarters in Santa Barbara. And the reason I know this is because when I was in my early 20s, I found a property that I wanted to buy. And you'll learn about this stuff in the mentorship. But basically, I approached them, and I ended up making a deal, and I bought a building that was worth about $200,000 for $105,000. And I had to move quickly, and I did. I drove the 2 hours immediately to this place right here, their headquarters at that time, and got the deal signed and quickly made a deal and quickly made $100,000 in a very short time. And again, this is in the 80s. And these are things that you can do now. I have students that are making $100,000, $200,000. Liam just made $350,000 on a single deal. Rich, he made 150 on one deal, roughly 200 and something on the second. The third deal, and these are all land, he made 800. So he made over $1 million, and he deferred those profits into buying one small commercial little building, a little single, like a house that had been converted. And then he bought a nice little strip center, and he bought a 15,000 or 16,000 square foot industrial building. So in 18 months, he's managed to make over $1 million cash, real cash, defer that into another purchase, or a couple other purchases that he bought under market. And so now he's sitting with about $1 million, I think about $1.3 million debt, and he's got $3 million worth of real estate, and it's bringing him in about $150,000 a year. Just do the math on that. If he's getting 6 or 7% on that $3 million, then he's getting anywhere from $180,000 to $210,000 income on that. Less some interest because he's got some of the money's borrowed, but in the end, he's netting a very, very substantial amount of money. And this is the stuff you can do. I mean, people think it's unbelievable, but I've been doing it for 40 years. And but it's just a wonderful thing to see people see it happen for others now. And hey, if you just got here again, please hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to have a webinar. I guess I got another one tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You can just write me, Tom, at FlipAnythingUSA.com, and I'll send you that Zoom link, or go to the link below for the webinar, and you can go in there, fill that, and it kind of goes through the system, and you'll be logged in, and you'll get sent the Zoom link, and you can come in and talk to me tomorrow morning. Otherwise, the next one will be this Thursday. And again, Does anybody have any questions? Anybody, have any doubts as to whether it's possible to make money in a tougher market like it is right now? I tell people all the time, everybody, thinks they're a rock star when they're making money in an ascending market, and it's because you can't make a mistake. You buy and things are going up, and then they, would like to construe that as that they really know what they're doing. But those are the guys that can't make a deal now because they really don't know how. You gotta have a discipline, and those fundamentals, if you practice them, you can make a fortune. All right. You got anything else there, Barry? Anybody? So this is also, I can tell you, I was laughing, I'll tell you guys once in a while that when I'm sick, and like right now I'm really tired, but when I'm sick, I'll tell you what really makes me smile and puts a smile on my face is the fact that I do not have to get up out of bed. I do not have to go to work. There's nothing I have to do. I can be sick and I'm still making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in rents, and I'm making on notes that I carry. I'm making tens of thousands of interest on the small amount of notes that I carry. Those, you know what I mean? It puts a smile on your face because believe me, I've gotten up and I still work hard and I still get up, and whether I'm sick or not, I go to work. I like to work, but it's having those options and not having to work is a really, really big thing. And I know not everybody has that, but I sure wish it for everyone because it is. It's just like I say, But I was likening that to this as I've been terribly ripped off in the last 2 months. I had a check for $99,000 written out of my account, fraudulent check. Now the bank insured it. I got my money back. Another one for $5,000 out of a completely different bank account, unrelated incident. I've had $50,000 of copper stolen off the top of my building. Thieves came in and turned off the power and saw cut through conduits that had copper wire as thick as my fingers and bunched like that. And they just cut it up like sausages, pulled it out of the tubes, rolled it up, coiled it. I've got it all on video. I'll share it with you. Hope we catch these crooks. But it disrupted business terribly. I also now, just this morning, I have a major plumbing problem at one of my buildings, and I have a crew digging a big hole where we're going to have to try to attack this clog from a different direction. We don't know what's doing it, but it's very substantial. You think it's time to leave town, leave my town? Yeah, I don't know. I think there's crime everywhere and theft. I mean, it's everywhere. But I'll tell you, that's why I say your greatest hedge against a poorly run government or a poorly run city or just an expensive world is make a lot of money. Make a lot of money, and none of this stuff will bother you as much. It only bothers you when it really affects you, and you just want to get ahead of the game, make a lot of money, and you won't like it, but you won't have to suffer. You won't have to suffer. Like look at Ben Molly. Just sold something, made $90 million, or he got $90 million on his last sale, and he's still running around and buying a bigger, better yacht, and and kind of living the dream, and that's what you want to do. And I'm living the dream too. I don't have that yacht, but it's really, to be honest, I don't even love it. I have a dock, and I have a lake house, and to be honest, whenever I had a boat, and I've always had a boat for many, many years, but when I had a boat, we would always go look for a cove to go park in anyways. And now I have a cove with a dock, and I don't even need a boat because I just drive the golf cart down to the dock and barbecue, hang out, whatever. So look, who else? Anybody out there? Come share. What do you got? What are you thinking about? Any doubts in this market? Money can be made. Because I'm telling you can make money in any market. Oh, Jay's World. Let's see. Hi, Tom. I started a cleaning company and wanted to know from your perspective, what is the best way to reach out to landlords to provide a commercial cleaning service. Man, okay, that's tough. But I'll tell you what, this is how I've built other businesses. And I say this is because I had somebody else tell me they started a cleaning service, by the way, today. And, and people come to me, hey, can I do your power washing? Hey, can I, you need a plumber? Do you need an electrician? And I used to be that guy, okay? I used to be that guy too. And there's a certain, and this even goes to deal making too, when somebody, you can pass your cards out, right? And let people know that, hey, I'm available, I'll start, be available. Like when you hand them a card, say, if they say, well, I might have something, say, if you got something, I'll take care of it right now. In other words, if you can do it. But it's very important you advertise. When I started my cabinet shop, I remember being so broke, I had a floated check. It was a Friday, and I wrote a check for like $35. I knew I had another check coming. But I wrote a check for the printing to make these flyers that I folded in 3 pieces, put a staple through it, and then just stuck a stamp on it. But this is how important it is to advertise, Jay, and to always stay in front of people. I put that I got it in the mail like probably 5 o'clock at night, just before they picked up. But I was writing this to people locally. I was writing it to builders. I was trying to get their business for building, for building cabinets. But I couldn't believe it. I put those flyers, about 20 flyers, in the mail, 5 o'clock on a Friday night, and and then I went out and partied, but the phone call that woke me up, probably 9 o'clock in the morning, was a builder, and he says, "Hey, yeah, I've got a job. I saw your flyer," and I'm like, "What flyer?" And I'm thinking he couldn't possibly have gotten that flyer already, but he did. The mail had already taken it from that 5 o'clock that evening and put it in this guy's mailbox like at 8 o'clock in the morning, and now he's calling me at 9. And so I said, yes, sir, I'll be right there. And I remember I ran over there. He needed a little cabinet. He cut me a check for $650, which was half of what the job was. And all of a sudden I had money in my account to cover that printing that I had done. And to get me through. And so it's super important that you just, knock on doors or get in front of people that can give you business. And, you might talk to, you might talk to some agents, real estate agents even. A lot of times, they're dealing with people and properties that need to be cleaned. So, but I would definitely, I don't know if you need landlords, right? I don't think landlords are your business. So let me give you, and I'm glad we're talking about this, Jay. Listen, go to a building that has commercial. Don't think like, landlords that need a house cleaned once. You want repetitive business. What you want to do is go to like an office building that has multiple tenants. So like I have many buildings. I'll show you even on here. So like I have buildings that, let me find one here. I have buildings that, where I have, 20 different companies inside of one building. And guess what? Almost every one of those buildings has a cleaner that comes in and cleans their office up. That's the money for you, Jay. That's the money for you. So I'll give you an example. I'll show you a couple. Let me think here. Yeah. So like this is a building that I actually just sold, only to buy a bigger one. And this is in Austin. So take a look at this, and I'll explain better. Only because I know these guys had multiple. That's weird. I'm not coming up with the right streets. No, let me try another one. Again, if you get a multi-tenant building like that, bottom line is they want somebody to come in and clean every week. They want you to come in and clean after hours. So it will mean cleaning on weekends and cleaning after 5, but it'll be steady work, and they'll give you the keys so you can get in, and the alarm so you can open up and close. But that's what I would do. Is I would go into I would go right to the offices and that sort of thing. But I don't know what when you say you started the cleaning business, you may be frustrated because for the real estate agents, they're not going to have constant work or a business. But listen, I have big accounting firms that rent from me that have, like 40 desks in one building, and every maybe even twice a week, a cleaning crew comes in there and cleans up. And I know because I see them on my security cameras, because they activate them. And so anybody got any other suggestions for Jay and his cleaning company? And what else? There's something I can't show you. I want to show you something, but I can't show you yet. I'm very cryptic until I have my deals completely signed. But I do have a very cool deal, but I got to be a little cryptic for the now. But it's a moneymaker. So, hey, Brian, how you doing, buddy? Hey, tomorrow in the class, Brian's in the class, by the way, we're going to talk about management contracts. A lot of times you'll have, I have management companies that do work for me, but I can tell you right now, I don't like signing contracts with management companies. And the reason I don't is because there's some really poorly run companies, and I'm sure you've all encountered them, but a really poorly run management company can get the owner in a lawsuit. In other words, and I hear people ask me all the time, they say, man, the manager of our property is a jerk, and then they tell me what they did, and I'm thinking, yeah, that is a real jerk. But they're not dealing with the owner. And that's one of the reasons I stay so close to my tenants is that, like I say, I'm in the loop. When everybody's trained to text, number one. They text their problems. I'm in the loop. So I get text, and so does the management company that's managing my property. And now we both know there's something wrong at the same time. And that way I'm on top of it in as much as seeing that the problem's being handled the way that I want to. If it's something big, like, our AC's out, sometimes I'll run over there and look at it myself, or I'll, have one of my guys check it out very quickly, because you don't want somebody that works for you to go order you a new $9,000 air conditioner when you could have fixed it for, say $500, or even sometimes like nothing. You get a strange company in there. A lot of people don't understand that when a plumber comes out to your place, or an air conditioning company comes out to your place, you're really at the mercy of that technician. And you got to remember, a lot of those technicians, they get paid. They don't get paid necessarily hourly. They get paid by the job. And so they have to contract a job, say, oh, no, you need a new water heater, and the water heater is going to be $500 and this and that. And then they sell the job on you. Well, they're getting a piece of the action on the sale of the water heater and a lot of other things. And so you can end up getting some quite padded bills when the people that are ordering this stuff for you are not the people that actually feel it in the wallet like you do as a landlord. Hey, Josh, glad you're in here, buddy. Actually, I'm kind of curious what you're doing on your money thing that you were talking about, whether to pay it off or keep it borrowed. That's a dilemma everybody is, I think, running into. Josh also in the mentorship. We got some great new talent coming in, by the way. We got some people that are going to be really fantastic in the class. Like I said, kept the money. Yeah, I don't blame you, Josh. I don't blame you. Anybody want to look at anything? Because this is the time to do it. I can jump around LoopNet or Google Earth. Otherwise, we'll probably wrap it up here pretty quick. Oh, you bought another 10-acre lot. That's fantastic, Josh. Ah. So it was smart to hang on to that money, right? I'm assuming you use that same money? So Josh's in the class, he's one of the greatest students too. And like I say, we have people that make money in a lot of different ways or a lot of different types of real estate. Josh has been killing it with land, and really, really proud of him. He's been doing a great job. Ah, cool. That's great, man. Well, anyways, I guess I'm going to kill it. I'm going to go get some Thai food and a big bottle of wine, and I'm going to go hang out with my girlfriend, and that's going to be it. So, hey, thanks for watching, everybody, and be sure to get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Been a bestseller on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle, and you got to start somewhere. Start with a $10 book. Don't get, there's a lot of people fleecing people for big bucks, and it's a terrible thing. But that, and then if you really want to get somewhere, get in the mentorship, and we'll see you later.
Yo, stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all of the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.